Over the last decade, many articles and videos have been published detailing strange happenings at the Euphrates River. The cradle of civilization is the land between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, consisting mostly of modern-day Iraq, the place where civilization was developed. No, not that civilization, but Mesopotamia, where the ancients lived. The Garden of Eden, where God placed his image-bearers, Adam and Eve. Noah stepped off the ark in the mountains of Ararat, just to the north. Abraham traveled from Ur to Egypt through this land. This is also the land of Babylon. It and the Euphrates River are among the oldest places in human history. The Euphrates River is even mentioned in the ancient book of Genesis as an antediluvian river before the Great Flood. It has been instrumental in the development and prosperity of countless civilizations. The Euphrates' role in history isn't over yet. Scripture tells us that in the end times the river will dry up and unleash entities so powerful that they will slay a third of mankind. The Euphrates River is drying up at levels never seen before. The Bible, as well as the Quran, told us that the Euphrates River would dry up in the end times.
And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up.
Last year, Iraq's water ministry said that the country's water resources are the lowest in the country's history. The Euphrates is ancient, even antediluvian. If the Euphrates dries up, what will we find underneath? These rock shelves were created by ancient people and are now visible for the first time in thousands of years. A video from a few years ago claims to have found the ancient tomb and body of the Sumerian demigod Gilgamesh. Another video shows 3 stories of the recently revealed Hastek Castle, which was believed to be used as a border outpost during the Eastern Roman Empire. Whole cities have been discovered under the Euphrates, including the 3,500-year-old Mitanni Empire city of Zahihu. In Revelation 9, we read about angels bound under the Euphrates River that will be loosed on the earth in order to kill a third of mankind.
Saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, Loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the 4 angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, for to slay the third part of men.
Who or what are these angels bound under the Euphrates River? The Euphrates runs through the nations of Turkey, Syria, and Iraq and forms a border with Iran. Some speculate that Scripture is referring to angels that are the princes of these nations, and that these nations will be released to wage war during the tribulation. Are these angels symbolic of real-world nations, or the spiritual powers set over them? Revelation 6 tells us of the 4 horsemen of the Apocolypse, each a different color. A white horseman will conquer nations. A red horseman will take peace away from the earth. A black horseman will bring famine while the rich live in decadence. The last horseman is the worst of all.
And I looked, and behold a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him.
Are these horsemen of the Apocalypse the angels that are bound under the Euphrates? Are they as plain as Scripture says, beings that cause havoc on the earth? Are they manifested in the actions of the Antichrist? Or do they represent something else? Are they the Arab nations and their destruction on the earth? In the apocryphal book of Enoch, God commands the archangel Raphael to bind the fallen angel Azazel and cast him into the pit in the desert.
And again the Lord said to Raphael, "Bind Azazel hand and foot, and cast him into the darkness, and make an opening in the desert which is in Dudahel, and cast him therein, and place upon him rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever, and cover his face that he may not see light."
This is the same Azazel in the desert to which the children of Israel sacrificed goats in Leviticus chapter 16, a topic which we cover in my upcoming book, Angels Eternal, War of the Princes. God similarly commanded the archangel Michael to bind the fallen angel Shemyaza in the valleys of the earth.
And the Lord said unto Michael, "Go bind Shemyaza and his associates, who have united themselves with women. Bind them fast for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth, till the day of their judgment."
It's not just in apocryphal literature where we find these angels in prison. They are documented many times in Scripture.
"And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth. And they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison, and after many days shall they be visited."
Here the Old Testament book of Isaiah is prophesying that Jesus will visit in the abyss the watchers who rebelled in Genesis 6 and in the apocryphal book of Enoch. In 1 Peter, Jesus does just that.
"For Christ also hath once suffered for sins, the just for the unjust, that he might bring us to God, being put to death in the flesh, but quickened by the Spirit, by which also he went and preached unto the spirits in prison, which sometime were disobedient, when once the long-suffering of God waited in the days of Noah, while the ark was a-preparing, wherein few, that is 8 souls, were saved by water."
Here Jesus has died on the cross. His body is in the grave, but his spirit is on the earth for 3 days. During that time, Jesus goes down into the abyss and proclaims his victory over the rebellious angelic watchers that made trouble in the days of Noah. This is repeated in 2 Peter and Jude.
"For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell and delivered them into chains of darkness, to be reserved unto judgment, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah the 8th person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly. And the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day."
These passages beg an interesting question. If Satan is God's primary adversary, then why is he freely roaming the earth right now while Shemyaza is chained in the abyss? Are Lucifer and Satan the same being, as we've been told for centuries? Derek Gilbert has an excellent study on the topic. Be sure to check out his book, The Second Coming of Saturn, at gilberthouse.org. The Haditha Dam in central Iraq was captured by U.S. Marines in 2003 and used as a base. I was stationed in Fallujah, Iraq during 2 deployments with the Marine Corps, only 2 hours from the Haditha Dam. There are many stories from Marines stationed there about the voices, strange noises, smells, and feeling of oppression coming from the dam's lowest levels, which they were forbidden from entering. Are these accounts evidence of entities chained under the Euphrates? Now you can hear a little bit about these stories in L.A. Marzulli's Giant of Kandahar video.
And even going to Iraq myself and being near Haditha Dam and seeing the prisoners underneath the dam, and the prisoners would scream and there'd be this awful feeling underneath the dam, and then later finding out in the Bible that angels locked underneath there, where it talks about.
And this Haditha Dam is the Euphrates.
Is Euphrates,
and there's
correct.
an angel supposedly locked underneath the Euphrates,
correct,
which is released in the book of Revelation.
Scripture tells us in Job 26,
"Dead things are formed from under the waters, and the inhabitants thereof.
The accounts at the Haditha Dam aren't the only strange happenings around the Euphrates River. Mythologies tell of mighty demigods who ruled humankind. In 2003, it was reported that under the Euphrates River, a research team had unearthed the ancient burial site of a mythological god. The Epic of Gilgamesh is the oldest notable surviving literature, written around 2100 BC. In clay fragments found at Tel Hadad, Gilgamesh himself was buried under the Euphrates River in the ancient city of Uruk. A month after the 2003 U.S. invasion of Iraq, the BBC reported that a research team had discovered a tomb that was similar to the Gilgamesh's tomb described in the epic. Was this truly the tomb of Gilgamesh, hiding secrets that had been buried for thousands of years beneath the murky waters of the Euphrates River? There is evidence that Gilgamesh was also the Egyptian god Osiris and the biblical Nimrod. In my book, Secret Societies, Blood Never Sleeps, we study Freemason documents, including the Masons' Encyclopedia, where they tell us that they are looking forward to being united with Osiris forever after his resurrection.
The promise of life is Osiris. The great doctrine, the great revelation of all the true mysteries, is that Osiris lives, but he is known by other names. We also, as Masons, look forward to union with Osiris, to be united with him forever.
In order for that to happen, they will have to find the body of Osiris, who may also be Gilgamesh. Was the tomb of Gilgamesh really found? Does the tomb have any connection with the angels under the Euphrates? It's hard to know for sure, but it's an interesting story, and we are living in interesting times. Are these accounts evidence that we are approaching the time of the end? We may not have to wait for an angel to let evil spirits pour into our dimension. The European Organization for Nuclear Research, known as CERN, is an intergovernmental organization that operates the largest particle physics laboratory in the world, and they are attempting to create a black hole on the Earth. Located in Geneva, Switzerland, along with the World Economic Forum, CERN displays a statue to the Hindu goddess Shiva, the Destroyer. The CERN Large Hadron Collider is the world's largest and most powerful accelerator, spanning an underground loop of 16.8 miles below Geneva. Inside the accelerator, two high-energy particle beams travel in opposite directions by means of an electromagnetic field at almost the speed of light before they are purposely made to collide. The energy of the collision is transformed into matter in the form of new particles before they rapidly decay. In 2012, Large Hadron Collider scientists successfully observed the theoretical Higgs boson particle, also known as the God particle. The particle gives almost all other particles their mass and is the foundation for the matter that forms everything in the universe. Peter Knight, the president of Britain's Institute of Physics, said of the discovery, "This is the physics version of the discovery of DNA." British Prime Minister David Cameron said, "This is a great breakthrough, one that could be profoundly significant to our understanding of the universe and the fundamental laws that govern it." Currently, the Large Hadron Collider is working to figure out why there is more matter than antimatter in the universe, and the nature of dark energy and dark matter, the essence which scientists theorize make up black holes. University of Chicago physics professor Lin Tao Wang said, "We know for sure there's a dark world, and there's more energy in it than there is in ours. One particularly interesting possibility is that these long-lived dark particles are coupled to the Higgs boson in some fashion, that the Higgs is actually a portal into the dark world." I admit that a lot of physics is over my head, but I sure don't like the idea of conducting an experiment that could open a portal into another dimension, possibly a dimension where angels are waiting to be unleashed to slay a third of mankind. If you liked today's video, be sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like the video, thank you for watching to the end. I hope that it has helped shed light on the mysteries of God's universe. Be sure to stay tuned for more Marginal Mysteries.